I didn't have a chance to look around the city, but this time the venue itself is in Taipei downtown area, so I could walk around a little bit. But this time also I have to leave this afternoon, so I don't think that I have time to visit the Kaohsiung Kaogong Museum. Everybody wants to visit there, but this time also I cannot. After hearing Professor Ye's presentation, I thought that Taiwan is very lucky to have a professor like Ye Xincheng, who is energetic, and he himself is a very talented researcher in this field, and he has a leadership in leading Taiwanese universities and the government officials to initiate this endeavor for the past 8 years. The path that he followed is very similar to the path that I myself followed. I started to work on this subject around the same period, around 2001. But the difference is that Professor Ye is his major is environmental science, and my major is environmental and resource economics. So I myself haven't worked on this green campus theoretical or green university theoretical and practical researches. But my role was generally the organizing the people around the universities to make them aware of the importance of green campuses and to gather together different universities to work together on this issue. Why we need a green campus movement in the universities? I think in Korea we have 4 major reasons. The first is sustainability. Many of us, most of us agree that sustainability is a very important issue for the universities. And yesterday, Professor Ian Thomas gave a very good lecture, and so now we are well aware of this topic. The second is climate change, and actually I don't need to add more to this. This is one of the most important tasks given to us in this century, actually. So we have to cope with these issues together. The third reason is kind of unique feature to Korea, because last year in August, the Korean President Lee Myung-bak announced low carbon green growth policy as a new vision of Korea for the next 60 years. Actually, this is not just a government project or agenda. This is a change of the growth path from resource-oriented to low carbon and the green growth. I will talk about this later. And the fourth reason is that, well, for every university, the financial problem is very important. So we want to raise financial sources, and at the same time we have to cut down the energy bill. Recently the energy bill is increasing, so that takes quite a share of the total expenditure in universities. Okay, first, well, we know that in 1987, the definition of sustainable development was announced at the Brundtland report. The name of the report was Our Common Future. And the definition was that, well, we need to meet the need of the present generation, but without sacrificing the capacity of the future generation to satisfy their needs. So this is about the intergenerational equity. We need the economic prosperity. Every nation wants to improve the living standard. And we have to save the earth. So environmental stewardship is required. And we have to preserve the culture, history, and the social value. So that's the social responsibility. So to fulfill the sustainable development, we need education for sustainability. Okay, and through this the sustainable development, we will increase the quality of life. Okay, so the increase the quality of life is our goal, and this sustainability or sustainable development is a way of reaching the higher quality of life. And for this, at universities, we have to teach students about the sustainability issues. So all the universities have a common cause to increase the education for sustainability. Climate change. For the past 10 years, the temperature increased only 0.74 degrees Celsius. But by the end of this century, the IPCC forecasted that it will increase as much as 6.4 degrees Celsius. Well, this is the maximum scenario. The lowest scenario is at 1.1 degree, and on the average about 2 degrees Celsius. That's still about 3 times higher than the past 100 years, and the sea level will increase. So if we do not take a proper action, the future will be a disaster, or will face the limits to growth as a Club of Rome announced in 1972. The Club of Rome, in their book, The Limits to Growth, they announced that if we do not take a proper measure, then the growth of the world, or growth of this world, will coming to an end by the end of this century. So there are the prophecy, or the anticipation are becoming a reality now. So not only the government, but the university have to be prepared for the coming the climate change issues. Okay, Korea's low carbon green growth vision. Well, Korea imports 97% of energy from overseas. So we need to reduce energy consumption and also diversify energy sources from fossil fuel based to non-fossil fuel or non-carbon based energy sources. And also to meet the requirement of a Kyoto Protocol. We need to also reduce the CO2 emission. So we have to meet the additional requirements, and at the same time we need to